Cross your fingers.
Looks like we're up.
Mark, you up? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. It's 10 a.m. We're here for the regular session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order and ask Commissioner Martin to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our flags.
Shall we pray? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of life. We ask you to give us understanding and patience as we do the community's work today. We ask you to continue blessing this great country that we live in. In Christ's name we ask all these things. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, everyone. We have Commissioner Hutchins, Strait, Martin, and Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall presiding over the meeting today. Commissioners, you have the minutes from June 13th, 2022 regular session. I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll have public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff, or they may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by some other course or response. Rick Grant, you wish to speak? Come forward, please, sir.
Down that county road.
Daniel, you want to address that, or you want me to take a shot at it?
Well, basically, there's a prescriptive right of easement, I think, on that road, unless it's the one that was done more recently. So it would be either 20 or 30 feet.
We just need to know the dimension for
Yeah.
2,400.
They're all different, sir. Every county road is different by prescriptive rights. It's just whatever we're using as a county road.
Yeah. So I don't know on that particular road if it's 20 feet from the center or 30 feet from the center, but that's where the easement boundaries would be.
Okay.
And they have the right to put things in based on Commissioner Court approval once they get that.
So it's on the agenda to approve it, and they've already put the line in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be an issue for discussion today.
Okay.
We've got some issues with it.
And the other issue that we're concerned about is the trash they're throwing out as they're installing these lines. I mean, we're property owners and we're picking up their trash.
Okay. Well, like I say, it's later in the discussion in executive session. We're having some other issues and complaints, so you're not the only one. Gay Laudermilk.
What I need to know is when you say if y'all have an easement, you have a right to make those decisions. If my deed just says that it's for a county road, I just need to know what authority you have other than to use it for a county road.
We have, as a county, we have a prescriptive right of use. At some point in time, landowners pulled their fences back, built a road through there. The county's been maintaining it, so by right of use, we have it. All we're doing is granting them the right to be in our easement, which we have, but they can come get an easement from y'all also. We're just saying we don't care if they get into our area of prescriptive rights.
So that gives y'all authority to let anyone down that road if you have an easement?
That's the way the courts have been ruling, Daniel, isn't that correct?
It's not anyone, it's just utilities.
It's utility companies only.
And y'all have that in writing somewhere, that y'all have that authority?
Well, it's in case law and state law. So,
Case,
yeah.
case 1, state law?
The case law means courts of appeal have ruled on it.
Okay.
And there's also, it's in state code under the Texas Water Code and the Utilities Code.
Okay. So no one has to let us know then, it just happens?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Daniel, we got anybody online?
No, we don't.
Okay, move on to old business, action item 1, final plat of Mancha, addition precinct 3. It was tabled at a previous meeting over whether or not we had a county road or a private road across the plat, and we tabled it for further. They've sent out public notices. Brian, there you are. They got a couple of responses back, but nobody disagreed to close the road.
That's correct. Well, I did get an email this morning or late yesterday, someone questioning if they had the right to do that. I explained to her, and I sent her an email, but I haven't heard back from her. I explained to her that with the state right-of-way having the big flare just right where the county road actually should come out, that that's a better way to come out anyway. The roadway through there started life as a driveway, and at some point just kind of began to be used as a road of convenience. So that's where we're at on that. Anyone else I've talked to just asked question what was going on, and they understood and didn't give any kind of flack back. So.
Okay. Commissioners, got any questions?
Do not have any questions. I'll put those signs up in reference to that road, not a public road. I did get emails on a couple of people, but they won't answer their phone when I call back. So, like I said, I have no problem with what this court is in reference to Macho Addition.
I'll entertain a motion for approval of the plat
The
then.
final plat, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Daniel, can you check and see if Calvin's?
I did. He's stuck on the phone. He'll be over here as soon as he can.
Okay, well, we'll skip action item 2 now until he gets here. Under new business consent calendar, Commissioners, I would like to see us approve 1 through 4, and we need to talk about 5 through 38 in executive session before we approve those.
So moved.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we want to go back to, now that Calvin's here, under old business, action item 2, take action to approve contingency fee contract with either Abernathy, Router, Boyd, and Hullett, or Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott, LLP, pursuant to Section 630 of the Texas Property Code, said contract being for the collection of delinquent government receivables owed to Hunt County, and notice of said contract is posted with the agenda in accordance with Section 2254 of the Government Code. Commissioners, we are ready to make a decision on this, or I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the contingent fee contract with Purdue, Brandon, and Fielder, Collins, and Mott.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I guess, Daniel, do we need to do anything specific as far as the contract at this point in time, or?
Well, Calvin will be handling that, but it will just be signed by the county and by the contractor.
So we don't need to do any other discussion with them at this point in time?
Not at this point.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to action items, approval of accounts payable.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Approval of line item transfers.
Make a motion to approve line item transfers.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Approval of budget amendments.
Make a motion to approve budget amendments.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Approval of payroll and personnel.
Motion approved payroll and personnel.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action item 1, the fire contract for Quinlan Volunteer Fire Department. Daniel?
We can put this under executive session.
Okay. Action item 2, the request for County Attorney Calvin Rogan's office to represent Lake Regional Community Center in prosecuting an application for placement of intellectually disabled juvenile into a residential care facility under Chapter 593 Texas Health and Safety Code. Daniel or Calvin, y'all want to address this?
Good morning, Commissioners. Judge Stovall. There's no provision under the Health and Safety Code that specifically authorizes the county attorney to prosecute a commitment application for intellectual developmental disability, which is what Lakes Regional is asking my office to step in to assist them with. If I don't offer my assistance, since I already handle civil commitments on behalf of the county, they will be forced to hire outside legal counsel to represent them in a proceeding. So just out of generosity, I offered to do this for them. They assured me it's not a reoccurring basis, but it does require a hearing in front of a court of competent jurisdiction, which requires legal representation. There is everything in place to do a placement of a juvenile, but that requires a hearing to happen in 12 days from today. So that's why it's on the agenda for approval, so that my office, because I'm not statutorily authorized, there's an AG opinion from 2007 that says the better course of action would be for the county attorney to seek approval from the commissioners when it's not statutorily authorized to represent the county in this action. So what I intend to do is simply to be legal representation for Lakes Regional during this proceeding for the commitment of the juvenile.
Okay. Commissioners, you got any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Calvin. Action item number 3, a contract with L3 Harris for radio infrastructure and maintenance plan. Daniel?
All right, I have Jason LaForge is here and talk about things. This is the same radio infrastructure contract that we've been talking about for 7 months now. The L3 had 4 different proposals that they sent over, most of which are not relevant, or 2 of which are not relevant to the discussions today because they don't include the county. The one that's up for the county's consideration today is the 250-page or so contract that I recently sent, but that is basically a fleshed out contract document that is the same as, I think, item number 4 out of their 4 proposals, which is a joint agreement between, and please correct me if I'm wrong, joint agreement with the city and the county, where the city, county, and the L3, local L3 plant would put together a 3-part system. Jason's here to answer questions that you might have about that, but in addition to that, I emailed last night, I have several extra copies of the consultant proposal, the Trot consultant proposal. I mean, not proposal, but their report. In short, they believe that it meets the requirements that the county has set for this radio system. And it's the pricing is 45% below list, and according to our contractor, they believe that that is an appropriate price. It's a competitive price. I'm going to pass that out again, just so that you have it, and make sure it's in front of everybody while you're talking about this and while Jason goes through it. Jason's here to answer questions. I know the county judge has some questions about pricing based on some of the things that were in here or spaces that weren't filled in. If the county approves that contract, then tonight at the city council meeting, the city council will need to approve it as well. Otherwise, the vote here is void. It's not going to be valid. And so if the city has tonight on its agenda the possibility to either approve their version of this contract, which is another 250-page document, but is substantially similar in the way that everything's laid out. If they either don't approve that, which is certainly a possibility, especially since they're down to 6 votes, and so a tie vote of 3-3 would mean that it is not effective. Or if they go with the other proposal, which is from a different company, Motorola, then we're going to have to come back and get additional guidance from the court on what to do next. Because if this is approved, it's going to need to be approved contingent on the city council's approval tonight. And as I'm sure that you all remember from numerous previous conversations, the way that stands is that the county has initially pledged a $5 million amount to this contract with the leftover, basically, which was supposed to be about $2 million. Going to the city to fund part of their infrastructure, which would directly benefit the county. And there's obviously discussions about where that's going to come from through the American Rescue Plan Act funding. That was changed a few weeks ago after comments that came back from the city council to be a specific amount certain, which was $2 million. And so if this contract is approved today, it needs to be contingent on city council approval. But if the council doesn't approve it, or if they go with Motorola instead of L3, then all of this is off the table and ineffective, and we're going to have to come back and do a second round of infrastructure review and contract negotiation.
I assume we got approval with L3 Harris Local also for their portion of it.
Here, step up to the mic because people online.
Commissioners, yes, L3 Harris has already submitted their PO for their 2 RF sites and their side of the core system.
Okay.
So we're
Good.
waiting.
Can you tell the court exactly kind of a breakdown of the highlights of it and then the cost that is going to be the county's portion of the cost?
Sure, I have is there a way to display on the screen maybe?
Well, we can try. We've been having a lot of technical difficulties lately, so there's no promises. Okay. I mean, is it going to follow what some of the documents you've already sent us?
It is. It comes out of the documents that we've sent you already in terms of the map. So what it is it's a partnership between L3 Harris, the L3 Harris facility, the city of Greenville, and Hunt County. Each piece of that comes in as the city would have 3 sites that they're going to build and construct in the city of Greenville. And then we will also have 2 new sites at the L3 Harris facility. So what that is, that's a total of 5 sites within the city boundaries. And what that does is that brings in-building coverage. It also brings the ability for redundancy. So the facility is paying for 2 of those 5 sites. You guys would bring in 2 sites. And that's why I was hoping to at least show the map of the all 7 sites. So it's a total of 7 sites across the whole county. So let me start with there. There's 2 for Hunt County. There's 3 for the city of Greenville and 2 that the L3 Harris facility is bringing in. The L3 Harris facility is also purchasing 1/2 or 1 side of the brain, if you will, of the network. So that also reduces cost. So the partnership model is truly brought on to reduce the city of Greenville and Hunt County's overall cost by partnering with the facility. It reduces long-term maintenance cost because we have a 10-year maintenance plan that's included in the documents that you have. That's for your 2 sites in your consoles, so it is also consoles at dispatch, radios for the sheriff's office, 50 portables, 40 mobiles, our Beyond solution, which allows for push-to-talk over your cell phone. Another good piece of that is Trot Communications. You know, recently we started wondering about coverage inside schools, right? I mean, so there was the ability to use, we call it Beyond, it's an application, but what that'll do is that allows for you to give a teacher or any administrator the ability to directly talk to the first responder community over their cell phone. So that is included in there. We included 10, well, actually a total of 60 licenses. 50 of those, though, were for our radio that also will connect to a cellular network or Wi-Fi. So if the schools have a Wi-Fi system in them, and I believe all the schools in Hunt County have a Wi-Fi network in the school, it will allow for any school resource officer or anybody that has that radio. Typically, your first responders carry public safety grade radios, and so it'll allow them to connect to the Wi-Fi system to be able to talk directly to whoever you want. That's the good thing. I mean, you can set up talk groups. They can talk to dispatch. You can have them directly talk to the police department. It just depends on how that wants to be set up. And all of going through all of that process, we call it fleet mapping and building the talk group structure, is included in the pricing. It's an all-in price. The only thing would be some of the civil stuff, maybe at the Commerce site. So we have a site on a water tower in Quinlan. And then we have, is it Quinlan?
Which one did y'all choose? So we looked at 3 of them that day.
Yeah, I think it was the,
It doesn't matter. Is it the city of Quinlan or Combined Consumers?
I think it's the city of Quinlan. And then we have a site going on Whitley Hall in Commerce as well. So the in-building coverage in Commerce is really strong. Also having a site down south, I know the sheriff said that he'd like to have, really good coverage down there. And so one of the sites is down south. So you guys are bringing 2 sites into a 7-site design. But you'll benefit from all 7. And that's that partnership cost-sharing approach.
May I ask you a question in reference to those sites? Looking on this one page that has the building coverage, and I noticed Greenville and the judicial territory that it is good as far as inside. And more than likely, that's one reason that you do not have some of the private schools listed over here in reference to critical building predicted margin, for the simple reason that it's within the city and it's stronger. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
The city is really, sorry, sir, go ahead.
No, that's all right.
Commissioner, my fault.
Another question I have, and I'd like to bring it up, in actuality, out of those listed as far as the buildings and all this, we have, I think it was 10, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. I think it was 10 that basically were below 10. No, there were 8, I'm sorry. But below, below the 10 or less are likely not covered. Okay, but would they be covered if they have the Wi-Fi?
It would be. If they have Wi-Fi in their system, they'll be able to communicate. Also, if there's LTE cellular coverage, they could also be able to communicate that way.
Okay, so that's really not a problem as long as they have Wi-Fi. In other words, just,
Correct. So anybody, like an administrator in the building, will likely have a cell phone, and if they have cellular coverage in there, they'll be able to use that device. It's more your public safety personnel that have the radios.
Yes.
So our radios have a LTE SIM card that you can put into them, but for the Wi-Fi purposes, you don't have to have LTE in the radio. It's automatically in the radio. It just requires a B on license, and we included, after communications with Trot, we included a total of 60 B on licenses in the project.
okay, also I was noticing reference to the contract, it was advising of the warranties aspect of all this. Well, it wasn't in, it's supposed to have been on page 16, but it's not there. Later, could you go over what the warranty is in reference to all that, please?
Sure. I can, you want me to talk to it now? So your system infrastructure you have a 2-year warranty and you have a 3-year warranty on the radios. But you also have a 10-year maintenance plan that whenever you do any kinds of repairs to your system, our Dallas service shop will maintain that and handle that for you in terms of the system infrastructure pieces. So your repeater sites, microwave would be a third-party vendor, so those would not be included, but the warranty is 2 years on system equipment and 3 years on the radios.
So we won't have any costs for repairs going forward because of the payments we're making?
Correct. On the system infrastructure side, the radios they have 3 years on them, and then once that happens, but we also have a radio maintenance plan in there, so we will come out and we will yearly check the radios, and then every other year we come out and we retune the radios, and that will be done from our Dallas service shop center.
What's the console warranty?
Console warranty, well, we'll make it 2 years.
So it's, the console, and if I understood it with the way y'all had it with Rockwall, that we will be paying an annual fee for maintenance and upgrades, and a period of time out, 10 years or whatever it is, then it'll all be upgraded within that payments we've been making. Is that correct? Is the way I understand it?
Yes, so you have software, so
Right.
you pay for all the software updates. And then you also, at year 7, I believe, 6, 7, you'll see that there's an increase in the cost. That's whenever we come through and we refresh all of the equipment that, like, basically it's your third-party stuff, like your Cisco routers and switches, things that we can't control. But we use a lot of, it's known as COT, so commercial off-the-shelf equipment. So Cisco routers and switches will be replaced. All the software will be upgraded. But that will also happen throughout the process with your radios and your consoles as needed.
So our main maintenance cost going forward will just be radios as they improve, and we need to upgrade radios.
If radios break or,
Yeah.
they go through some abuse sometimes.
Right, no, I understand. They throw them occasionally or hit somebody upside the head with them or whatever, but, I think, the rest of it all covers us, though. We're covered with all other maintenance agreement except for breakage and upgrades with the handheld radios and radios in the cars. We'll have to purchase those as they go along.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Yes, sir. I have a couple more questions. In fact, I'd been trying to get a hold of Brandon earlier in reference to it. Didn't have a chance to call you, but on this pass out that we have, I'm talking about live earth unit mapping with Tyler Technology. Basically, let's say that if there's a problem with them, are y'all going to take care of it, or we because we've had problem with Tyler Technology in the past. Am I correct, sir? Yes. So that's what I was concerned.
Philip, I think we've gotten kind of to the bottom of that Tyler problem. A lot of that was our own fault, and some of it was Tyler's, but we haven't upgraded it in a long time, and a lot of the upgrades would have fixed some of our problems. I think we had some programming that we had to do, and I don't think they got it programmed exactly correctly through our own employees, and I think it's a lot of oversight on the county's part, and because Tyler is, the same system that we'll be using is in Rockwall, and Rockwall Sheriff's Department loves it. Is that not right, Sheriff? So I think the Tyler, it's a fixable problem. We just haven't addressed it because we didn't fully understand what the problems were.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
Judge, I'd like to go back a little bit to the predicted available margin for some of these critical building coverage sites. I understand that the Wi-Fi, and that makes a lot of sense. My question is, I kind of hate to rely on Wi-Fi in emergency situations like that. What would it take to up that coverage margin to be more certain that these critical sites are going to get that coverage that we need?
Mark, let me clarify something before we answer that. And it's a great question, but it's been really brought to light since Uvalde. When it first started and what we asked them to give us, we didn't ask for the critical buildings out in the county. We didn't necessarily know that we had that kind of demand and that it was going to be that big of a problem. So kind of into it, we kind of got to, well, the Uvalde happened, and then everybody started talking about, oh, we need to get that coverage out there. But that's just been recently, and we're going to have to probably address that if we want more later, but that's not what we'd asked for when we started this process. Now, the city of Greenville did because of the density of the town and how many people they have, but they even excluded, I believe in theirs, the L3 facility of coverage in the buildings, if I'm not, is that right, correct?
They did during the RFP process.
Yeah, they excluded it, and now they're getting the coverage.
Now it's all in there. So
And it's all in there, and so all the buildings in the city will now be covered where they weren't going to be covered before. And we've got pretty good coverage in most of them, as you can see, except for those few. And we can, if the Wi-Fi doesn't work out, we're going to have to probably address it at a later date. But that was not anything we started out asking them for, just for clarity, so everybody's on the same page.
Understood, and I apologize if it requires some speculation on your part, but I still would like to hear your response, and especially since I know at least one of these schools is in an area that's notorious for having poor cellular coverage, so.
Okay, so so there's two ways to do it from the LMR system itself. You can build a new site, which is pretty expensive. So, or you can put in what's known as a BDA, a bidirectional amplifier. You have to be able to pick up the signal, though, to boost it across the building. It's less expensive than putting in a site. But, the cellular doesn't depend on the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi depends on an IP connection back, which is usually through like some kind of a fiber connection into the school. I don't, like Judge said, I mean, the school thing came up fairly recently, and it was something that I completely understand, and so we'll find a way to get it fixed. But we need to figure out, hey, once the system comes on, the maps, we're very conservative in what we put out. So once the system comes on, then would be the best time to go and figure out what school isn't functioning. You can put in a BDA for, I'm gonna get myself in trouble here, anywhere from 50 to 100 grand, maybe a little less. It depends on how big the school is, right? It could be more than that. It all depends on the size of the structure. So I don't know what size the school is in terms of capacity. I don't know what it's made of. Of course, some things are, like your older buildings that have chicken wire running through them, they destroy RF. So it's the good news is, though, really with the Wi-Fi connection, we're seeing more and more of that, especially at hospitals. The radios, because like an ER and strangely enough the morgue are two places in a hospital that it doesn't work. Usually, it's very strange, but they really have embraced the Wi-Fi technology. And so it's a big added plus in terms of cost reduction. I understand what you're saying in terms of reliability on Wi-Fi. That's where you would want to have probably redundant paths going into the Wi-Fi system itself. And then you'd also would have, I know you said cellular isn't good, but then you would also have the ability to access the system over your cell phone if needed.
Sheriff, you got a comment? You're kind of pacing back there.
Commissioners, Your Honor, as a 29-year officer here in the county, all over the county. We need to really look at this with them, because I can't say what they're putting out, but I can definitely tell you what we've been dealing with. And we ain't getting out, and as long as I've known, we can't get out. We can't get out in these locations. I've got a school right now that we've equipped with radio that's on it, that when you're in that school, you cannot get out. This is a problem, but we need to really move forward with this, because what we have now and what we have always had is not sufficient.
Right. Sheriff, this will also include, which I think is important, and correct me if I'm wrong, the recording aspect, the technology that goes with at the end of the shift. This will address that also, correct?
Yes, sir, and I will say this about the, talking about Wi-Fi. Our officers are now furnished with telephones because of the way the court system has gotten. If you use your personal phone, it can be subpoenaed in court. So we have our phone numbers. I have furnished our officers with cell phones, which they give out to the public and everything, because it is a county phone. We get in spots, I've got it right now, where we had a standoff with a guy with a gun down south, and I was in the middle of it. Matter of fact, I was in the middle of that, where my deputy was smart enough to take his cell phone and use its app that we have to transfer into dispatch, so that they could get the recording and we could communicate, in which we could not over our radios. So very important. That is a great app, and that's where we're going. Naturally, we want the radios to always get out everywhere, but yes, that's a very plus too. And it's not just me that'll back this up. I'm going to throw him under the bus. We have a constable that's worked here with the sheriff's office and everything in one of the biggest precincts, and I think he'll vouch for the same thing. What we have and what we've had since I started in 93 or 4 is insufficient.
Thanks, Sheriff. You want to explain our map to us?
So, this map is, I talk pretty loud. So this map is all of Hunt County. So here's the 3 City of Greenville sites. The yellow is 30 dB, so that means you're going to get a signal inside the building. 20 dB, good chance. 10 dB, not as high of a chance. So as you can see, it's color coded out. And as you can, to answer your question on the what increases it, as you can see, you put in a site, your dB strength significantly increases. But sites are pretty expensive, so the BDA, if you can just pick up any of this signal within the school range, you can receive it and broadcast it through the building with the BDA. So this is what we call a heat map. And as you can see, I mean, really the city of Greenville does have the 5 sites, and they're putting in 3 of them. We have the 2 facility sites down here, and then we have the one on the water tower down here in Quinlan, and then this is the one up here in Commerce. So a lot of Commerce's and building coverage will be met as well.
Okay.
And if we wanted, for the installation of these, was BDAs, you call them, is that a service y'all provide, or we would have someone else?
We don't make BDAs, so it would be we have a lot of service providers. The service provider that's going to do your installation work does BDAs too. Some of your installation work. Well, it's a partnership. We're bringing in a dealer partner, and then we have a facility, and we also have a group that works out of the Dallas area, because we have Farmers Branch, Addison, Capel, Rockwall, Kaufman, Henderson. All of these counties also are, customers that we provide maintenance contracts to. So there is another map I can. It's pretty cool. Kind of got off course here with So one of the things that the system is going to also do is that we're going to connect them to Rockwall. We're going to connect the systems to Kaufman. We're going to connect the systems to Henderson. So this is portable coverage that your system within 2 to 3 years, you'll be able to access all these sites and not even have to change the channel on your radio knob. It's called seamless roaming. And so Rockwall and Kaufman are upgrading their system to where it will allow for seamless roaming. So that means that whenever they travel outside of Hunt County, through those areas, they'll be able to use the radio system and talk to whoever they want to, dispatch. What we'll end up doing is we'll end up setting up like RMA channels, like regional mutual aid and pursuit channels for the SO and PD if they have to go on pursuits outside of the jurisdictional boundary. But these systems are all going to be able to talk to each other. So that's another big aspect to it. Van Zant has just put out a proposal response that we've responded to. We'll see how that plays out. But in terms of what we can guarantee you today, this is what we have, and this is portable. So I can go and see if it's working. Oh, it is working. So this is mobile. So if you look, the mobile coverage, if we click, you can see portable is less. But I mean, mobile really blasts much further, right? It better receive better transmission capabilities with the mobile radio. And if you're in a pursuit in a car, it's more than likely the device that you'll be using.
That's what we call the old inner city, isn't it?
He's not that old, Philip.
Yeah, smiling.
All right, any other questions? Breakdown on price.
So we have your all-in cost here with warranty of years 1 and 2. So you really won't be billed for 3 years. Is going to be at 2.546. So that includes your towers. That includes the radios. That includes the consoles. And then here's your maintenance. So for the remaining 7 years, you're at $682. Shouldn't have forgot those things. $682. Then you have the radio maintenance that we talked about for the $45,000 that comes out and takes care of your radios throughout the cycle. And then we have the ISSI solution. That's the piece of equipment that connects all the networks together. So we have 3 ports with 12 talk paths, so you can connect to 3 systems. That cost, worst case scenario, would be shared with the city of Greenville. So.
Tell me this, do we have copies of this anywhere besides there? We've been given copies of this.
This is directly out of the contract documents.
Okay. So initial upfront cost totals 2.5, whatever.
That's correct, sir.
And then starting in year 3, then we'll be paying these numbers. So roughly over the 10 years, we're going to be looking at 3.2 or something like that. Rough numbers, just adding it in my head.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range, 3.2, 3.3, somewhere like that over the 10-year period. Commissioners, you got any questions on that?
Judge, I don't know if this is the best time, but.
Pull your mic down, please, sir.
Sure, is that better?
Yeah.
I have to really lean forward here. We have, I'm looking at this document from Trot Communications, our consultant, and it said that the Sheriff's Office operates with a single VHF repeater channel currently.
What page are you on, Mark?
2.
2, okay.
And that is shared with our Hunt County Constables, Homeland Security, Game Wardens, State Park Police, Quinlan ISD and PD, Lone Oak ISD PD, Bland ISD, West Waukene, and then there's Wolf City PD, Celeste PD. So my understanding is from what they're saying is that these agencies will also need to upgrade to the P25 radios. I'm just trying to wrap my head around that to make sure. And then it may be more of a question for you, Judge, but do we know what the cost is going to be to these agencies to upgrade to this P25 radios?
Well, we've talked about it, Mark, that some of them, we may have to help them with the cost of buying the radios. That some of the smaller cities and maybe smaller school districts, if they don't have the ability to do it, we might need to help them. But everybody's required in the next few years to be P25 compliant. Every emergency entity is required, so they're going to have to do it one way or the other. The constables, of course, will they be in that 60 radio, Sheriff? Because you don't have 60 deputies out there on the street. So the constable and probably Homeland Security, we might have enough radios for all of those, but we may have to buy a few more. And, some of these entities, if they don't have the funds, we'll have to probably try to help them, like Hawk Cove. We know they don't have any money. We'll have to help Hawk Cove.
The prices of those radios were, what, almost $2,000, is that correct? Okay.
And we'll put in your contract the same as Henderson, because this kind of builds off Henderson, and then it went into Granbury, and then now here, we'll allow the 45% discount to continue off of L3 Harris equipment items.
Okay.
So that should help some, and we're always willing to look to see what we can do for communities that don't have as much money.
Right.
That's you're anticipating where I was headed with that, which is that I wanted to ensure that we could get this 45% discount.
But
as well.
the cost of radio now is what, $2,000 to $5,000? What are
Yeah, it can be, it depends on what you need. I mean, if, you can get a radio that's fully loaded, souped up, $5,500. You can get one as low as $1,500, $2,000. I mean, it's, but if you also have people that don't need, I mean, that would be for your public safety entities. I would highly encourage that they all have a public safety grade radio. But for people that don't, to buy additional Beyond license is less than $300. And it's transferable to phone, so you get rid of your phone, you don't have to pay, to get a new license. It's all transferable. You just download it download the app, then you plug in the numbers, and then you're off and you're running.
And could this pricing structure also extend to volunteer fire departments?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of volunteer firefighters.
All right, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, I'll make a motion, we approve the contract with L3 Harris and jointly with Greenville and the L3 Harris plant, subject to Greenville approving the agreement tonight.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Daniel, for all your hard work on this. I know you spent a lot of hours on it. And Jason, thank you. And all right. Action item 4, the ARPA funding for nonprofits in Hunt County. Did you Jess, did you hand those out to everybody? Okay. So she handed out a list. We met our steering committee met last Tuesday, and on the recommendation, we had gotten in all the applicants. We reviewed them. There's 4 or 5 that we had a lot of questions on that we did not take action on at the meeting, but we've got people from the steering committee reaching out to them to get some clarity and make sure they understood what we were asking them and make sure they were asking for what we were going to be able to fund. So all the rest of them are clearly pretty much asking for money that they just lost during COVID, that they didn't get funding during it, and some of it because of additional demand they're having, asking for some additional funds. So Child advocacy, we're recommending, the committee is recommending that we fund $220,000 to child advocacy, $77,000 to drug-free Greenville, $19,641 to CASA, $60,000 to the Senior Resources and Public Transit, $25,000 to Commerce Little Angels, $40,000 to Hunt County Health Foundation, $75,000 to the Northeast Texas Children's Museum, $15,000 to Disabled American Veterans Post 81, $305,000 to Hunt County Shared Ministries Fish, $75,747.64 to Audie Murphy Cotton Museum, $20,000 to Hunt County Kids, and $55,000 to Women in Need, for a total $987,388.64. And if you have any questions, Commissioners, these are all nonprofits, all 501Cs. They're all in compliance with the ARPA funding requirements.
Judge?
Correct, Daniel? Yep.
On Fish Ministries here, back when COVID kind of first hit, we had given them the money, but they never did give us any response, did they, on where the money was spent?
Not totally, I don't think, did they, Bruce? Not totally. This one, they don't have to report. There's no reporting on this. Because it's reimbursing them for funds that they were unable to get fundraising and all during COVID. So this is trying to resupply their funding for funds they lost during those hard times.
The committee reviewed all this, and this is their recommendation.
This is the recommendation of the committee, and we'll come back. I told the committee, we didn't know when we started, I think I've said all this before, we haven't had a budget on it yet because we didn't know I didn't have an idea of what the demand in the public was going to be from all of our nonprofits. So based on the information we've had and based on the few that we still have got some more visiting to do with, I don't want to necessarily set a budget number, but I think that we're probably going to be looking at about $2 million total in ARPA funding to take care of all of them. I know that the Boys and Girls Club's asking for a pretty good chunk of money, and that's one of the ones we're having to get some clarity on. They're asking for several hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they have some real needs. They just got to clarify some stuff for us, and they did lose funding. But, boy, they're having a lot of problems now with the kids being behind from school that had to do all the homeschooling and Zoom, and they're really trying to do a lot of after-school work and catch up the kids, and they're hiring more teachers and really trying to make a push to get our kids back on schedule and on grade level. So they really need some help. So we're trying to make sure we're doing our due diligence and getting what we need from them.
I appreciate the work of the committee. I'd like to find this out, if possible. You said the Boys Club and stuff like that. Well, what are the other ones that we're looking at too, or are you at liberty to say right now?
Well, I don't have that in front of me, Philip. I'll try to remember. Boys and Girls Club is one. The Hunt Regional Foundation, they had requested something from me earlier, and they didn't request it in this, so we're going back to them. They've got to replace that mammogram bus that's 8 or 10 years old, the Tubby Atkinson mammogram van or bus, and it goes to all the low-income areas around the community and all, and they lost a lot of money during their fundraising and all. So they'd asked for 40, and then they'd asked for some others, so they're going back to the foundation to see exactly what the hospital foundation needed. And Philip, I don't remember the other few. You got that list, Jess? Yeah, I didn't bring the list with me, but there's 3 or 4 others that, the one big one is the Boys and Girls Club.
We can take up that later.
Yeah, we're not trying to set a budget or anything. It's going to be something close to $2 million. Hopefully, we won't have to give that much, but if we do, I wanted the court to be prepared to spend that money.
I have no problem with this list, Your Honor.
Well, I'll make a motion we approve the list.
Judge, real quick.
Sure.
Could you explain the reasoning for the Northeast Texas Children's Museum and Audie Murphy Museum, just for our benefit?
They lost funding during COVID, that they weren't able to have any of their fundraisers and all. So the museum has got a lot of deferred maintenance they were unable to do. Same with the Commerce Children's Museum. They both just didn't have funding They didn't have their fundraisers, so we're replaying it, we're reimbursing them for their lost revenue, and then they're gonna use that money for, like I said, the museum has got a lot of deferred maintenance, and the Children's Museum had plans to expand, and they haven't been able to do those things, so this will give them some money to be able to get back on track to expand in their new facility. But they were all lost revenue.
Did you make a motion, Judge?
I did.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank y'all. I think that's all worthy, good spending for that ARPA money. Action item number 5, the revisions to Hunt County's game room ordinance. Daniel, you want to brief us, and Sheriff, got comments?
Yeah, I'm gonna hand this out real quick. All this is a copy of, or a printout of some items that the sheriff has asked me to remove. All right, this is a copy of page 26 through 28 of the current game room ordinances. There's a section 3.13. The sheriff is asking to remove that section altogether. That is for exemptions that would apply to certain facilities that make a certain amount of their income from food and beverage sales or have charitable bingo. I reviewed the law that applies to this section from the government code that applies to this section and the county's authority to regulate game rooms in general. There's no special notice that comes along with this, like printing things in the newspaper for 7 days like we had to the first time around when they were adopted. If the commissioners approve, all it would take is basically a simple voice vote to amend the game room regulations to remove those exemptions. And if you approve that, then we would take the Word document, take those items out, and then republish that on our website for anyone to see.
But the current ones wouldn't be affected by it. Current permits.
That's correct. There are no current permits that have these exceptions. So if you vote on that today, then there wouldn't be any impact on existing property rights. To the extent that something has happened in the last 2 days, which... There is one. Oh, there is one?
But that's where this stemmed from, and I'll explain.
Say it again.
He'll come up and explain it in a second.
Yeah. To the extent that there is one that's already been granted, then that would be grandfathered in. They would get to keep that right.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, Sheriff, you want to explain?
You know, we have, this type of game room is basically ran as supposed to be a charitable organization, you know, giving back to the community. But we have really had to stay on top of them because they, I'm going to say 90% of the ones, 99% of the ones that we've had attract a very bad element that shows up at these strip malls and stuff with restaurants and barber shops, and I've continuously got complaints on that. So we implemented these. Well, then they found this part about the food and beverage, which is kind of run like an Applebee's or something like that, 51% of your profit. Well, now what we do is we move a food truck outside, and we sit and watch them, and occasionally they go get a hamburger or something and say, hey, this is it. Well, it defines it, and it is not working with it, but we have to audit these to keep this up. We have to go in, we have to sit down, and you have to show everything you buy, and we have to sit down and do an annual audit on them to keep up with that. And I said, you know, we're not equipped to do that. And they also come in, and your audit is basically, well, you know, here's my notebook paper, and that's not going to work for me. You know, if I get audited on my farm stuff or anything, I have to have my receipts and prove everything. So we looked at this and said, this is not feasible. If you want to run the the proper way, you know, but we're not going to sit here and battle back and forth on this. So it was just made more sense to take these out so they do not wind up in the church, right next to the church. They do not wind up right next to your neighborhood house and everything else. So this is something that we're requesting that, you know, they can still run legal, they can still make their money off of the game rooms. I'm not, but it keeps them from landing and fighting things by just putting a food truck, and that's exactly what's happening. So I've got one that has done that, and I realize what is going on. I've investigated it, and we will be having a discussion with that person. And I understand that they will be grandfathered in, but I also will advise them that they will go through the strict proceedings of what is correct, and if they do not, they won't be grandfathered in anymore. We will file.
Let me ask you this, as my attorney question reference to it, you're omitting completely 3.13, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
okay, now, and excuse me for asking this, would we want to leave 3.14 and reference that if they do this, that we can file on them, is that true? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
they commit these violations, yes. This is strictly I'll tell you, this is a nuisance and a safety concern. Other than that, I don't gamble. I have enough bad habits. So, but I have no problem with it. I mean, none whatsoever. I have a lot of friends that enjoy it. But it's not that. It is and this has happened, it is a strip mall in Cache that says, we're continuously finding syringes in our deal. Stuff like that. It is that I have no tolerance. If you want to do this correctly and run a proper business in the proper manner in Hunt County, I welcome that business.
All right, any other questions? Entertain a motion for approval of the Hunt County Games Ordinance Revisions, Meeting 3.13.
So, second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Action item number 6, presentation from Texas Association of Counties for Health Benefit Renewal Rates. Jonathan?
So you should have a presentation that we put together of the renewal rates along with some alternative options that are available to the court. Renewing as is for the upcoming year, Hunt County would have a 6% increase, which is in line with the health and employee benefits pool, which has an average increase this year of 5.9%. In order to remain grandfathered, you can only make minor changes to the plan. So we showed what that would look like if you did want to bring those rates down a little bit. With those changes, the increase would be just over 5.2%. So that's page 3 of the presentation. What the current rates are, what the renewal rates are, and then if you wanted to make changes and maintain that grandfathered status. We also showed if the county would be interested in forfeiting the grandfathered status, you can alter benefits a little more drastically. I've got just some examples of what that would look like if you were to increase the deductible in a couple of different ways. That is, I believe, page 5. I apologize for not having these numbered. And then another option available to Hunt County is an HMO plan. This is the Blue Essentials HMO offered by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. So currently the state of Texas employees, the ERS, the teacher retirement service are on this plan. It would be a way to reduce costs with just a couple of restrictions because of the type of plan it is, because it is an HMO. So members would need to select a primary care physician. They would need referrals for specialists, and there's not access to out-of-network care except in the case of emergencies. But that option is in this packet as well. Doing the research on this, I do feel like the HMO would be good for Hunt County. There are only a handful of providers that are not part of the network that you're currently on, and it's 2 optometrists. We looked at that disruption report. I'd be happy to provide that as well if that's something that y'all would like to look into. I know you've had this for just a couple of days. I'm happy to answer any questions or dig deeper into anything if there's anything specific we want to discuss.
Commissioners, got any questions?
I have a statement in reference to that HMO. Basically, I am a retired state and
Yes, sir.
employee, and no way. I tell you what, I have a statement in reference to this, the plan that we have right now, that we're under the grandfather clause. I believe that it would best do the employees in this county if we kept as is. That's my opinion.
Phil, I'm going to ask that we table this to next meeting or something. I've got a meeting with another group that's making a presentation, and I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'd like to see it next week, and then if it's got any merit to it, we'll come to the court with it. If not, then we'll take action on this.
I'll say this right here. Basically, we know what we have, and it's been good to us. If we drop out of it, we're out of it. And that's a big deal. We've had this in reference since 2001 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. We're benefiting the lesser charge because of that grandfather. We give that up.
I don't think that grandfather clause is that big a deal, Philip. Is it, Jonathan?
We can still have a low deductible without the grandfathered plan. So we can, at Texas Association of Counties, we can build a plan to fit any level of deductible that Hunt County wants to cover for their employees. So we could go non-grandfathered and still have a low deductible, and that wouldn't affect the premium more than if you were grandfathered, at least not a tremendous amount. The changes that the grandfather status impact are things like with the Affordable Care Act, preventative coverage being covered at 100% with no cost share, so no copay, no deductible. Those are the types of things that being non-grandfathered, you would be required.
Okay, with it as is, if I'm not, tell me if I'm wrong, it's a 5.2 increase. Is that?
So the base
Actually,
increase,
that's
if you were to keep the plan as is 6%. You can make the minor changes and keep the grandfathered status, and it would be just over 5.2% if you were to go with the that 300 G2 plan, which increases the deductible by $40, the co-insurance by $250. It would keep the copay the same and would increase the emergency room.
Here's what my deal is, and I'm being sincere about this. In actuality, we had an increase, trying to make a living in what's changed, probably 10, 11, 12%. We got this stuck in there at 6%. I don't believe if it was the out of the grandfather, I don't believe we'd have that increase. It would probably be more so. Plus, in reference to going to anything else, we better think about a cost of living, increasing it in reference to, because if they're paying more deductibles, if they're paying more and they have to pay, it's going to go up higher. Am I correct?
Well, so certainly, yes.
Yes.
If someone has a higher deductible, but they would have to pay more. Hunt County is in a very unique benefit plan. The deductible that you offer right now of $300 it's not something I see duplicated inside of TAC or outside of TAC. I don't see health plans with deductibles that low. And the rates are what they are because of that. The county's paying substantially more than other areas because of that low deductible. So it's a great plan, and certainly $300 deductible is not something that you see. So it would be a good draw for benefits. Something Judge Stovall's pointed out to me previously that in attracting newer employees, that's not necessarily something that they're looking into or the benefit. So at TAC, we're here to consult for you, to share all of the different options that you have available to you.
I agree with the judge as far as putting it off to where we can hear from other people, but I will say this right here. In actuality, we know, compared to all other counties, in which I've always said, don't compare me to someone else, we're doing Hunt County.
Sure.
Right? The thing about it is we have something that works. It has drawn in the past, it has drawn in employees because of those benefits. I mean, straight out. I know of people that come to work here that basically it was the benefits that attract me, it wasn't the salary. And we're trying to do something in reference to that, and I appreciate the court in reference doing it. But getting right down to it, if I ask you that one question, which one's better? If you were an employee of this county, you would say keep the grandfather, wouldn't you?
The grandfather wouldn't come
It's
into it.
not-
You could have a non-grandfathered plan with a $300 deductible. So I wouldn't necessarily make an assessment based on that. If you ask me as an employee what I would prefer, a lower deductible or higher deductible, of course, I would prefer a lower deductible. But the grandfather status doesn't really come into that. I was challenged to come to the court with plans that would potentially save the county money, and those are just the options that.
It wasn't just saving the county money, trying to get it affordable so that they could put dependents on it. I mean,
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
complaints that we hear, or I hear anyway, Philip, is, and I'll disagree with you a little bit on it. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, our benefits do attract some, but it also runs a few off. We can't hold them. I mean, they may get here, and then when they start seeing their paycheck isn't big enough to live on, they have to go do something else, even though the benefits are great. So it is a double-edged sword, and we've got to work on it, and it's gone up considerably. I mean, we're at close to $1,200 an employee just for the employee insurance every month, which is a tremendous benefit to the employees. But when you can't buy groceries and gas, it don't help you a whole lot. So that's what we're faced with, trying to get our wages that's a livable wage and provide the benefits, and it's a tremendous challenge today to do that. And I think the court's taking some steps forward this year to really work on that, and we're going to keep on, but we got to keep mindful of our benefit package and still have a great package, but it can't be so great that we can't hold employees either. So there's a fine line in there that we got to try to get to, and I think we could hold a lot more employees if we got it to where they could cover their beneficiaries or their children or spouses on it and not have to pay $1,200 a month to get them on there. And most of them can't afford it unless they're just working to get the benefits here and their spouse has a good job somewhere else. So we got a tough challenge, and that's why we're not the only county doing this. I've told the court, and I've told Jonathan, I mean, there's several counties that I've been talking to. We're all having the same conversation. We're all talking about it, talking about maybe doing a joint venture together with some counties and do something similar to what TAC does, but see if we can't do it at a cheaper rate than what TAC is doing at this point in time. And TAC's been great to us, but it's getting almost cost prohibitive. And
Certainly. And we're here to do anything that Hunt County would need us
you
to do.
go back and tell them that y'all got to start dealing harder with Blue Cross Blue Shield, because Blue Cross Blue Shield can cut a better deal with these hospitals, and they can work harder coming out to our area and working. That's what I hear from all the consultants. They're saying Blue Cross is just taking they're giving all the hospitals a good coverage and giving them 2 or 3 times over Medicare, and then we're paying for it, and they can go negotiate it at, just a small percentage over Medicare.
So that was something that you mentioned the last time we talked, and going back to Blue Cross, they do individually negotiate with providers for those contracts.
But what
So
percentage?
It's not a set percentage.
But so
They
each one of them's different? What's the average?
I don't have what the average is. It just depends.
They won't tell us, and that's the problem. I want to deal with somebody who'll tell me what they're doing. I don't mind them making a profit. I want them to make a profit, but I don't want them knocking their head off either, and I feel like they're knocking their head off.
Well, I have some reports I'd be happy to show that show what the network advantage is of Blue Cross. It's not going to give you the individual contracts for the providers, but happy to provide.
Yep, I'd like to see them.
And I'll tell you, over the next year, that's our biggest challenge at TAC, is to bring down the dependent and spouse rates. You're right, we've heard that from.
We got to do something.
It's very expensive, it's prohibitive.
If
Something that we are focused on.
If you will come back with that answer, I'm interested in it also, my friend.
Certainly.
Thank you.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you all.
We'll table this to next time. We'll need to get it probably approved by the next time for the budget process. Or maybe, let's see what yeah, we'll need to do it by next meeting. So, action item 7, the revised longevity pay for employees. Cindy, you want to? I guess I'll go first, Sandy, and then you can clean up what I say. Sandy and I've been talking about re-looking at this longevity, which it doesn't appear to me we're really giving a lot of. Currently, our longevity paid is not really much of an incentive. So Sandy's taken the initiative and gone out and looked at the other counties to get some things of what other counties are doing. And again, this all goes back into trying to retain employees and trying to get our salaries where they need to be. And so I'll let Sandy go through what her exercise was and with other counties.
I just went to the other counties that I have listed here on your paper in front of you. Did what their longevity was and compared what ours was to theirs, which ours is extremely low. There's only one other county that is even comparable with us. I just kind of took them all, and then I kind of just went through and made us kind of like the middle portion to where we can keep employees, can pay employees for staying longer with Hunt County, but at the same time, if that employee leaves, retires, that money goes back to the county. It does not, it's not there for the department head to give out to whoever. And this way, on longevity, they're still getting a decent pay raise getting this, but it comes back to the county whenever the money, whenever that person leaves.
It's a different line item in the budget,
Correct.
in each budget,
Salary.
yeah.
So, but it helps, I mean, there's some people who have been here 20, 25, 30 years. Look at Terry. I mean, how long he's been here.
Yeah, and he gets $100 a month longevity pay.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So, but the first page is all of my comparisons. The second page is what I kind of proposed for us to do. The person, an employee would not get anything until the 4th year that they're here. That way they are kind of, let's make sure they're going to stay. At that point, they get $600. Every year after that, they get $150 more.
Annual.
Every year.
Yeah, for an annual payment, they get,
Yes, instead of every 5 years that we
Right.
get now, so.
so they start out with about $50 a month, and then it starts going up from there, so. Commissioners, got any questions, comments? I'll make a motion, we approve the proposed amounts.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Sandy. Annual report of Commissioners' precincts in Hunt County. Commissioners, got any thoughts, comments? Not, I entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
You hit second? Okay. I didn't hear you, I'm sorry. Motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 9, request to change the road mileage on Hunt County Road and Bridge inventory on County Road 3708, Cherokee, Apache, Navajo, and Comanche in Precinct 3. Philip?
Yes, sir. Your Honor, this is Cochise Village. Basically, many years ago, they had put the wrong mileage. In fact, one of the roads is out in the middle of the lake. And therefore, this is a correction on this, and I make a motion that we accept these changes in reference to road mileage on Hunt County Precinct, Hunt County Road and Bridge inventory. On 3708, Cherokee, Apache, Navajo, and Comanche in Precinct 3. The attachments are there.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to skip the next few with the construction in our roads. Action item 15, the widening and upgrade of approximately 610 feet of County Road 2740 from rock to oil sand in Precinct 1, money in escrow.
Make a motion, we approve this upgrade.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 16, the widening and upgrade of approximately 575 feet of County Road 2738 from rock to oil sand in Precinct 1, monies in escrow.
Make a motion, we approve this upgrade.
Second.
A motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 17, upgrade of approximately 4,460 feet of County Road 2738 from rock to oil sand in Precinct 1 at county's expense.
Judge, I make a motion, we approve this upgrade.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Upgrade of approximately 2,350 feet of County Road 4111 from rock to oil sand in Precinct 4 at county's expense under capital improvement.
Make a motion to approve this upgrade.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 19, the upgrade of approximately 665 feet of County Road 4117 from rock to oil sand in Precinct 4 at county's expense under capital improvement.
Make a motion to approve this upgrade.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Steve, you wanted to strike it or
Strike number
table?
20. I want to strike it.
You want to strike 20? Okay. We're striking action item number 20. Action item 21, the upgrade of approximately 5,755 feet of County Road 4720 from dirt to rock in Precinct 4 at county's expense.
Make a motion to approve this upgrade.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 22, the upgrade of approximately 1,653 feet of County Road 4301 from rock to oil sand Precinct 4 at county's expense.
Make a motion to approve this upgrade.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 23, the upgrade of approximately 3,606 feet of County Road 4817 from rock to oil sand in Precinct 4 at county's expense.
Make a motion to approve this upgrade.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 24, the request to approve 2-year maintenance bond for Kelly Ranch Phase 4, Glenn Thurman, Inc. in Precinct 2. I understand there's been an inspection. We have the bond. Is that right, Brian? We have got the bonds. Entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion, we approve the 2-year maintenance bond for Kelly Ranch Phase 4.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 25, the acceptance of the final plat of Kelly Ranch Phase 3 in Precinct 2. Entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to accept this final plat for Kelly Ranch in Phase 3.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 26, final plat of Kelly Ranch Phase 4 and the beginning of a 2-year maintenance. Is that right, or is that supposed to be Phase 3?
Phase 4.
It is Phase 4? Yeah. The beginning of a 2-year maintenance bond in Precinct 2.
Yeah, just make a motion to accept this final plat for Kelly Ranch, the maintenance bond. Beginning of the 2-year maintenance bond, I'm sorry.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 17. Did we?
27.
27.
Yeah, hang on a second. Okay, we got Phase 3. I got lost there a second. I'm sorry. Action item number 27, the variance request in Redbud Subdivision for a private road in Precinct 1. Brian, you want to brief us? And see Jeremy's here if he wants to speak.
I was approached by Terry Hurst, who was the original developer of Redbud up in Precinct 1. This is a subdivision, been around for quite a while, has an active HOA and an active maintenance plan for their roads. They are privately maintained roads. County doesn't touch them. They don't allow school buses in. They don't allow trash trucks in. Everything's done out at the FM road. The roads throughout the subdivision are pretty good. Mr. Hurst is proposing to do another lot. He's wanting to create a lot added into the HOA and into the road maintenance plan. But there again, it's kind of one of these, it's one of these odd deals where it's on private roads and the road isn't up to what our county standards are. It's not 28-foot wide paved surface. None of the roads in the subdivision are. Not many of the roads in the county are. But Jeremy is representing Mr. Hurst, and he's here to tell you a little bit more about it, what he's wanting to do, what Mr. Hurst is proposing on this lot that would be platted. So.
Jeremy?
Thank you all for allowing me to bring this to you. What Mr. Hurst is doing, and it's not inside, it's on private road 1167 is what it's called on y'all's books. Looking at doing, and you should have a packet on it, a single lot. I think what we measured out was about 2.25 acres. It'd be 200 foot wide on the private road. Basically a rectangle with it being about 225 feet wide on the back and about 360 feet deep. There is an existing 60-foot road easement that already runs across the property. It is, the top is in, Commissioner Hutchinson's been there and Brian's been there, and it's about 12 or 13 feet wide is all that the blacktop is for that entire private road that runs through there. That private road already accesses a separate property that's been divided out. There's a house at the end of the road. There's a water tower at the end of the road. There is a 8-inch water main that runs down that street easement. That easement goes all the way from 1569 all the way past where we would do the development. The single-phase development would actually accesses all the way to a 33-acre tract, also have for Redbud. We would require anyone who to purchase that lot to buy in basically to the Redbud road maintenance. They have to pay $50 a month fee. Everybody in Redbud does. They privately maintain the road, so like I said, Brian said, the county doesn't touch the road at all. It's all privately done. Mr. Hurst was the original developer. He and his brother. He's bought his brother out. I just think it's, and I understand the current subdivision requirements are that we would have to bring up through our subdivision the road to county standards, which, quite frankly, if we drive down a 12-foot road to get to a 28-foot road to then turn right back into a 12-foot road, seems a little arduous to sell a single lot in a subdivision on a private road that everybody already has access to. Fire already has to go down there, and they'll have to continue down a 12-foot road. If we don't do this lot, we aren't required to upgrade the road at all for them to access the remainder of the property. I'm happy to answer any questions y'all have about what we're doing and why we're requesting the variance.
What's the plans for the rest of the property they own?
He has no further intention. His intention is we're trying to sell the 33 acres to pay off some debt. If we can't get that done, we'd sell this lot to pay.
What's the 33? Which one's the 33?
It's at the very end of the road. It's not a portion of this.
North and west? Oh, it's because
Redbud
adjacent, it says Hurst Brothers Construction, Inc. on one, and then Hurst Brothers Company, Inc. So there's two different corporations.
Terry is Hurst Brothers, Inc. and Hurst Brothers Construction. He bought out his brother, Jack Hurst, who is to the south. If you'll pass, and this aerial doesn't show it, but if you'll continue past, there's a water tower that's at the end of that private road. He owns a 33-acre tract that's that's even past the water tower.
So what about the big piece that's right there adjacent to this parcel?
He has no intention to develop that. This is a single lot. He owns it, but he only intends on putting a single lot there.
So would he plat the other pieces he owns there in as a single lot and restrict it to no further subdivision?
Our intention is to only do this single 2-acre lot to where it's a single lot. It would be one single family resident have restrictions very similar to what is already in Redbud.
I don't think the court wants to do a single lot with that much vacant land left and then him not being willing to commit to doing something. He's not going to have enough frontage to cut it. Anything else and meet our subdivision rules. So
exactly.
I mean, I don't want him to come back in here in a year and say, well, you did let me do this one, I want to do another one now. And it puts us in a box. And we got other people that are trying to do something similar that we're having to turn down because they've got a little different circumstances than this. But it puts us in a box pretty hard.
I understand your concern, but we also have to let good judgment not get overlooked because we're looking at rules. For subdivision stuff.
It's not just rules. I mean, we're trying to plan to make sure, our number one concern up here is public health and safety. And you start putting more tracks out there on a 12-foot road and there's not a turnaround in there and we got fire trucks, emergency vehicles trying to get out there. They can't turn around, they can't operate and we lose a life. Then, that's going to be on us and not on Mr. Hurst.
You understand that they already have to go down that road.
I understand that, but there's nothing we can do about that. But we can do something about this one.
And then I understand your concern, and I understand the concern of the court granting variances for restrictions that they've put in relatively recently. But quite frankly, if we wanted to, we could sell the single lot that's the Hurst Brothers Company, Inc. to somebody, and the county would have to allow them to get their 911 address and their development permit because that was parceled out long ago.
That's true.
And you wind up with much less road frontage. and y'all quite frankly have no control over that at this point. So if we do this single lot, you can.
But then we do control that he can't cut up the other piece either, so.
Oh, I agree. I'm not arguing
I mean,
anything on
it's-
that. But if we're only trying to.
Tomato and tomato there, I mean,
We're only trying
you
to
gain
grab
one
one.
thing, but you lose something else, and I'm just trying to come up with a solution that we can hold our hat on when somebody else comes in and asks for something.
And I would tell you that we would
can-
probably,
We got some kind of justification.
And I understand, like I said, I understand the concern of the slippery slope. I deal with it all the time myself.
Oh, I know.
But
Commissioners, what do y'all think?
Let me tell you what I think. I believe y'all got a private road right on somebody else's, the water companies, and is crossing it and going beyond. Am I right?
we have now what?
You have a road going across other people's property, which is the water company, correct?
We have an easement that does go past the water tower. It doesn't cut across the water tower. It goes.
I'm just going by what CAD shows. I've noticed also throughout, and I'm talking about.
I think the Hearst brothers built the road, Philip.
Yeah, the Hearst brothers built the roads.
The water company didn't build it, and they're not just using it. That Hearst, when they developed this out there, they built that road, and it was on their original property, and they gave the easement.
Well, the plat shows the other.
That's a copy of the survey. It shows the 60-foot easement. I have a copy for everybody if they'd like it.
Here's my
60-foot
point. I
easement
got to
that goes
looking at everybody who owns what and all this. And throughout the years, it seems as though land has been sold in there, and sold to individuals, and actually in violation of our rules and regulations, even the old ones. And I'm kind of like the judge there, what's going to happen later? If you're going to, sell property and have a development, go by the rules and regulations in reference to it. Now, if you're going to have, and that's another story, but I had one here recently. In fact, it's going to be talked about next, I believe, if there's not a turning point. We have these rules and regulations in order to keep from what happened with roads. A lot of people don't pay as far as road material and stuff like that in these HOAs. I've probably got 20 to 30 down in the southern part of the county, and some of them you go into a ditch and go down
more than
and
that,
pay for the other.
And I agree. I
I'm
agree. A
being
lot of
honest.
private roads
Okay.
are not well maintained, 100%.
Well,
No argument on that.
you know that. Well, what I'm saying is why would we let you do this, or whoever you're representing, Hearst? What's your name back there? Paul? But yet, we won't let him.
Well, Paul's building county roads. We are doing this off of a privately maintained road that has a $50 a month maintenance fee that everybody takes care of. I said, I asked Commissioner Hutchins how good Redbud Road is and how much money the county puts into that road. And I mean, am I incorrect that it's one of the better roads in your precinct?
It is a well-maintained road. I understand the concern I understand your position. I think it's a reasonable request. But I also understand Judge's concern and Commissioner Martin's concern that we don't know.
So I'm just asking the
next-
Commissioners Court to make a reasonable decision on a piece of property that they maintain nothing of the road, no cost of the road. If we quite frankly get turned down, we can still plat the subdivision, have to put in a 28-foot top on our existing 60-foot easement to where for 200 feet, you're going to have, 2 cars can pass. But then in about 150 feet, you're going to have to turn and drive beside each other on your 12-foot road. I mean, I understand we can comply. I'm just asking us to make a reasonable decision here to say, hey, this is already here. And yes, it's a horse that's out of the barn. But
And would they be willing to put in a cul-de-sac to be able to get emergency vehicles turned around in there?
Where at?
Either on this piece or the north of it on their adjacent property.
I mean, there's ample room to turn around past the water tower. I mean, there's no issue with being able to turn around.
Is it on dirt or a rock?
There's a blacktop that follows all the way past.
Is it paved turnaround at the water tower?
I don't know if there's a turnaround there. Everything's been able to access it, so.
I know they can get there, but they can't. I mean, that's, the biggest problem we have with these private roads, some of them are too long, some of them aren't wide enough, we can't get vehicles turned around. So, I mean, a
that would
simple
be outside the
solution, it might
scope
be
of-
a compromise, is, it wouldn't cost them much money to put a little cul-de-sac in there, and at least it would improve, it gives us something to put our hat on, that we've made an improvement to a situation that's not perfect. And we're making it better by allowing this to happen.
I mean, I'm sure that they're happy to explore the cost of that, and it may be that it's less expensive to make that 200 feet, 28 foot wide versus a cul-de-sac, and then we still meet your requirements. But it doesn't solve your concern, but we would still meet your requirements that you wouldn't.
Can you talk to them, let's table it and take action next time, see if.
Yeah, I'm happy to explore whatever solution you can.
Or come back with something. I mean, I'd hate not to let them be able to do something, but it concerns me that like I said, we got other problems.
And I know that you're concerned about the slippery slope.
Yeah.
I am not concerned about that. I'm concerned about this problem.
I know that. You got your position, we got ours, so.
Well, I have mine and you have yours, yes,
Yeah.
I agree. And we're probably both wrong. And that's the reality of it.
I understand, so.
But I don't
You'll
get to make
talk to them, see if
decisions.
we can come up with something, and then we'll take it up next meeting.
Okay.
That work? Fair enough?
I'll talk to him and I'm happy to let Mr. Hurst come talk to y'all if y'all like.
Oh, that's fine.
You wouldn't like that, trust me.
I know, Jack.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. All right, and then I think we've been asked to strike 28. And we're tabling to old business 27. All right, anything else before we go into executive session? Calvin, you got something?
You don't review the contract, I provided a copy of that earlier matter, tax collection. You can go sign the finance.
I can't hear all of that, Calvin, I'm sorry.
Tax collection, collection.
Right.
contract For with Purdue.
Right.
Can you all review the contract copies to make sure there's no questions from my review of it, but I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Before I left.
Can you hang on just a second? We'll go over it right quick. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session under 1 through 4. 1 through 4.
Second.
So moved.
All right, we got a motion, second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. We're in executive session at 11:37. Thank y'all for coming today. You're welcome to stay. Should be coming back up.
We're up.
All right, it is 12:24, we're back in regular session. We'll go back to the consent calendar, and we're going to table till next meeting under consent 5 through, did you say 30, Philip?
Yes, sir. 5 through 30.
5 through 30, so we will not be approving any of the frontiers today. We'll table that. And then 31 through 38, I'll entertain a motion for approval of items 30 through 38 on the consent calendar.
31 through 38,
30,
make a motion.
31 through, yes, sir, 31 through 38.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right. Then we've got,
Judge, for the benefit of the people here today, would you like to tell them what we're
Electrical
talking
power.
on the Frontier, yeah, we're going to call the supervisors of Frontier, and we're not approving any more grants to them to get in our right-of-way until they discuss it with us and make sure they're getting their things done correctly and picking up their trash. And we're going to address it with them before we give them any more permission to be in our right-of-ways.
Bottles and stuff.
Okay, not those big, schools, like the wire schools, big wooden wheels.
I've seen some of those.
But they're not walking off and just leaving them in a yard or something. Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to bring it to their attention, and we appreciate y'all letting us know. We can't do anything about it if we don't know, so we are going to have a conversation with them about that and other things that we're having problems with. All right, action item 1, fire contract for Quinlan Volunteer Fire Department. Entertain a motion for approval to approve the fire contract at the same term as the original other volunteer fire departments was. To end on the same day as all the other volunteer fire departments.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Let's see.
Number
10 through 14.
Do I now? 10 through 14. All right.
Jessica, you on top of it.
Mhm.
I love it.
Well, it's in here somewhere. All right. Action item number 10, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities across County Road 2520, Precinct 2, Farmers Electric.
Make a motion for the request of electrical construction under County Road 2580, under usual stipulations.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 11, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities across County Road 3131 in Precinct 3, Farmers Electric.
I make a motion, we allow the construction with a normal stipulation.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 12, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities across County Road 3219 in Precinct 3, Farmers Electric.
I make a motion, we allow the construction with a normal stipulation.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 13, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities across County Road 3408 in Precinct 3, Farmers Electric Co-op.
I make a motion, we allow the construction with the normal stipulations.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 14, the request to construct electrical power distribution facilities across County Road 3523 in Precinct 3, Farmers Electric Co-op.
I make a motion, we allow the construction with the normal stipulations.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And we have
We
to,
need to do the contract on, yeah. I'll make a motion that we approve the term of the contract with Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott LLP to begin on July 1st of 2022 and terminate on June 30th of 2025.
Second.
Got a motion, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything else? Did I get them all, Jess? Okay.
Your road.
I got them all. All right, anything else for the court today? No, I'll entertain the motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Second.
Got a motion, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 12:30. Thank y'all for coming.
Hey, Jess, this was in there to be signed.
Is that Precinct 2 lease agreement?
It was for Hannah and Gloria Film Center LP.
Judge, we're still live.
You gave me was in to sign. It came from her. What? I don't know.
Judge, we are still live.
Was it?
Was it under action item? No, it wasn't on the agenda. It was just, that came from Cheryl. Oh, it may be on the.
Judge, we are still live.
Is that?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.